Hello all, Rick here with an index video on the Devidians. I was hoping there would be a little more on them, but they maintain their creepy ghost-like lore, even amid Apocrypha, where they have had a huge impact, but I'll cover that later. For now, let's start with their origin. The Devidians' home planet is Devidia 2 in the Devidia system, located in the Marab sector. The surface consists of breathable air and average gravity, although it can barely be described as an M-class world. There is a consistent cloud cover and the surface appears barren. Beneath the surface, the caves were expansive and likely the homes of any native populace. Beaming down, however, you would not locate any inhabitants, as the Devidians, all their technology and tools, were phase shifted out of the universe's time-space continuum by 0.004 seconds. Describing this as their homeworld is also kind of inaccurate, as it might be where the species originated, but they're more at home outside of regular space-time, as they are both a time-travelling species and a multiverse-spanning entity. They live in small communal settlements around feeding rifts, and seemingly are ambivalent towards interlopers, almost completely ignoring them. This is likely because they're used to being overlooked, as they seem to be able to observe into our timeline while sitting comfortably apart from it, and have grown complacent when existing out of phase. This phased existence is similar to how the Pegasus's phase cloak would have worked, meaning that they are naturally very hard to detect, with only the energy signature of their equipment being discernible to sensors. Biologically, they are described as energy beings, but still constructed of physically discernible limbs and even a visible skeletal structure of some description. They vary between 2 to 3 meters and are humanoid with elongated limbs and translucent glowing blue skin. They sometimes sport spines or growths on their limbs, and while their faces are featureless with only the faintest suggestion of bone structure underneath. They have a mouth near the top of the head which ingests energy directly. They have 5 fingers and 6 toes and have been observed both walking on their emaciated limbs and gliding along. In terms of nourishment, they can absorb several energy types, but we have primarily seen their pursuit of neural energy in canon, while similar energies can also provide a feast. Their entire culture seems geared around the pursuit of this nourishment, with them dispatching scouts to find and procure energy sources for the rest of their commune. As beings of energy, at least in some regard, it seems they're capable of shapeshifting their form into corporeal states to mimic other humanoid life, as well as apply this to their equipment. But it's unknown if this is a quirk of their nature or some technology. They do have a discernible cell structure too, and are immune to many radiation types, so whatever form they exist in, it is rather unique. But, speaking of their technology, which just like them is rather strange, let's take a look. It's triolic based, the waves of which are detectable across phased existences because of how they interact with space-time. But the tools we see them use appear to be organic in nature, or at least the same organic energy forms as they are. The Ophidian creature we see them use is capable of similar feats of disguise as they are, and in its natural state also exhibits the same phased blue glow. Like much of the Devidians, its origin too is unknown, but it could be a creature native to Devidia, or a biological tool they engineered, as this is also within their wheelhouse. It is intriguing to speculate that all of Devidia might actually be shrouded in an array of phased-out lifeforms, just never perceivable to anyone outside of their plane of existence. They also employ larger snake-like creatures, some rivaling starships in scale, that can exist in space and can be deployed for combat. These were dubbed the Naga, named for the divine half-human half-serpent from Hinduism and several other religious mythologies, and were created from the augmentation of the Ophidians with traveller DNA. The Ophidian can create small disruptions to space-time, which the Devidians then amplify and focus with triolic wave patterns to form temporal vortices, a portal to any location within space or time, and then step through. They target locations where they can secure a good source of nourishment, but take great pains to hide their encroachment from other temporal agencies that would seek to prevent their meddling. Ergo, they engage in very vampire-like behaviour of targeting lone individuals, keeping their operations undercover and evading detection for as long as possible to avoid reprisal. They send the collected energy back through their vortex to their society, which feeds on the energies. Now, as with most time-travelling civilizations, this too means that they ended up with a degree of timeline hopping too, which led to a cataclysmic event later on in the book chronology of Star Trek. Spoilers for the Coda series ahead, but eventually they learned they could feed on the neural energies in vast quantities produced by particularly unstable timelines. These were timelines that frequently splintered and produced a myriad of alternate realities, such as the first Splinter timeline of the majority of the books. They employed the same triolic wave-induced manipulations as they used to, except this time they targeted the weak spots of a timeline, eventually shattering it completely in a way that preserved the neural energies of those within it. This then allowed them to feed on the entire energy of a timeline. By consuming these myriad of what-if realities, they empowered themselves enough to seek out another fractured timeline, consume that, and move on. In this way, they became a multiversal threat over a few decades as they collapsed entire parallel realities in their feeding frenzy. Their perception of the multiverse rendered them incapable of being reasoned with, not only because they viewed life as merely a food source, but because the Devidians would reason that there would always be more timelines being made, so what did it matter if entire universes were collapsed? The Devidians are a spooky species that, like the Borg, I'm not entirely sure I want explained in their totality. I like the mysterious origins, and although Star Trek is best when it finds common ground with former adversaries, sometimes it's also fun to have the creepy ghost aliens that drain someone's life force. No, Crusher, calm down, not those ones. Thanks for watching this breakdown of the Devidian lore and their impact on the Star Trek universe. This video might have been inspired because I just completed an unrelated video game that dealt with multiverses and ghostly things, and it got me in the mood to tackle something similar. So until the next Index video, thanks for watching, I've been Rick and I'll see you later. Until then, goodbye.